Picture Sylvester Stallone, scrappy, determined, a symbol of defiance. He built Rocky from nothing and became a legend through grit, not glamour. Yet behind that stoic expression lay grudges and silent vendettas. Stallone didn't rant on red carpets. He didn't go viral with drama. No, he hated quietly, carefully, and when it stacked up, he acted. From frenemies turned foes to directors he didn't tolerate, each clash shaped the man behind the muscles. These 6 people weren't just irritations, they were roadblocks, betrayals, or punching bags in his own ring. And Stallone, he didn't just fight back, he refused to forget. Get ready for the rivalries that fueled his fire. Let's start with the titan he loathed, and eventually teamed up with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger weren't just 2 action stars competing for box office dominance. They were locked in a cold war of egos, muscles, and one-liners that spanned over a decade. The feud officially sparked in the early 1980s, but tensions started building even earlier. At the 1977 Golden Globes, Schwarzenegger won New Star of the Year, while Stallone sat through 6 nominations without a single win. According to Sly, he left the ceremony furious, and when he saw Arnold smirking at a joke about Rocky losing, he allegedly hurled a bowl of flowers at him across the table. Throughout the 80s, the rivalry became the stuff of Hollywood legend. Every movie was a flex. Stallone had Rambo, Arnold fired back with Commando, Sly would bulk up for Cobra. Arnold would outbulk him in Predator. The two constantly tried to one-up each other in body count, budget, and biceps. Stallone later admitted, "We really loathed each other." And that loathing wasn't just private, it made headlines. They mocked each other's movies. They took jabs in interviews. It was a race for the top spot as the ultimate action hero. Then came the ultimate prank. Arnold reportedly heard Stallone was considering a terrible script. "Stop, or my mom will shoot." To sabotage him, Arnold pretended to want the role, knowing Stallone would jump at the chance to beat him to it. Stallone did. The film flopped. Mission accomplished. But in the late 90s, the feud finally cooled. The 2 men were brought together as co-owners of Planet Hollywood. Money and maturity changed things. They shook hands, laughed, and eventually teamed up. By the 2010s, the former enemies were sharing screens in The Expendables and Escape Plan, and Schwarzenegger publicly called Stallone a great friend. Stallone, too, softened. "We're like old warhorses now." What began as hate turned to history, and finally to respect. But Stallone never denied it. Arnold was once the only man in Hollywood who truly got under his skin. Because when you're both kings, there's only room for one throne, until you realize it's better to rule side by side. When Sylvester Stallone cast Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago in Rocky IV, he wasn't just casting a villain, he was casting someone who would almost kill him. Literally. During filming, Lundgren delivered a punch to Stallone's chest that hit so hard, Sly's heart slammed against his ribcage. The result? Swelling, hospitalization, and a helicopter ride to the ICU. Stallone later said, "My blood pressure went up to 260. I was 1 punch away from death." That moment ignited years of tension between the two. Sly felt Lundgren went too far, too fast. The Swedish actor's intensity on set was viewed not as professionalism, but as dangerous ego. Behind the scenes, rumors swirled that Stallone resented Lundgren's physicality, calling him too pretty and too polished to be threatening. Their relationship grew cold after the film. Despite Lundgren's growing fame, he was notably absent from Stallone's projects for decades. It wasn't until The Expendables, more than 25 years later, that Stallone reluctantly brought him back. Even then, the tension lingered. Stallone gave him fewer lines, kept him in the background. Some fans noticed, and insiders claimed Stallone was still settling the score. Eventually, Stallone said they buried the hatchet. But make no mistake, Lundgren didn't just play the man who nearly ended Rocky. For a moment, he nearly ended Stallone himself. But if you thought a co-star nearly killing him was intense, wait until you hear how a hot dog ended his friendship with another Hollywood legend. Before Sylvester Stallone was Rocky, and before Richard Gere was a silver screen heartthrob, both were hungry young actors cast in a 1974 film titled The Lords of Flatbush. But one didn't make it past rehearsals. According to Stallone, Gere showed up cocky, aloof, and completely dismissive. "We never hit it off," Stallone recalled. He would strut around in his oversized motorcycle jacket, acting like he owned the place. The tension finally exploded over, believe it or not, a greasy hot dog. During a lunch break in a car scene, Gere reportedly spilled mustard on Stallone's pants. What started as an accident turned into a shouting match. Gere got in Sly's face. Stallone shoved him. The next day, the producers made a call. Gere was out. Stallone stayed. Years later, Stallone never minced words about it. "We couldn't coexist," he said. "The director had to choose one of us, and I was the one with the better left hook." Despite both men finding massive success later, they never reconciled. Gere went on to star in American Gigolo, Pretty Woman, and Chicago. Stallone? He built a franchise off grit. In interviews decades later, Sly still referenced Gere with cold dismissal. "Let's just say, he never made my Christmas card list." Because to Stallone, respect wasn't negotiable, and once you lost it, you were out for good. But if a hot dog ended a friendship, imagine what happened when Stallone crossed paths with a director he truly couldn't stand. Some actors fight with their co-stars. Stallone, he goes to war with directors. In 1984, Sylvester Stallone signed on for Staying Alive, the unlikely sequel to Saturday Night Fever. This time, he wasn't just acting, he was in the director's chair. But years earlier, he clashed hard with editor-turned-director Don Zimmerman during Rocky III. Zimmerman had been promoted to director of Rocky III after editing the first two films. But when Stallone saw the footage, he hated it, calling it flat, lifeless, and completely missing the pulse of the franchise. According to Hollywood law, Stallone didn't argue. He took over. Literally, he fired Zimmerman from the project and assumed full creative control. He rewrote scenes, reshot major moments, directed it himself, and the film was a massive box office success. Stallone never publicly slammed Zimmerman. He didn't have to. His actions spoke louder than any press release, but insiders say the message was crystal clear. "If you can't match my vision, you're off my set." To Stallone, film wasn't art, it was war, and on his battlefield, weak leadership wasn't tolerated. Zimmerman never worked with him again. And Stallone, he solidified his place not just as a star, but as a force of total creative dominance. But if you thought directors got it bad, wait until you hear about the friend who betrayed him quietly, off camera and without warning. Before fame, before the Hollywood spotlight, there was Joe Spinell, a rough-edged character actor and one of Sylvester Stallone's earliest friends in the industry. He appeared in Rocky the Second and Paradise Alley, always playing shady, unforgettable characters. But behind those scenes, Spinell was more than a co-star. He was family. He gave Stallone a place to crash. He encouraged his early scripts. He was there when Stallone had nothing but dreams and rejection slips. But as Stallone's star rose, Spinell's didn't. His career stalled, his addictions worsened, and slowly their friendship fractured. Spinell reportedly felt abandoned, left behind by the man whose career he helped launch. Rumors circled that he tried to get back into Rocky III, but Stallone said no. Spinell took it hard. Their final fallout came quietly. No public feud, no fight, just silence. In 1989, Spinell died alone in his apartment, bleeding from a bathroom fall. Stallone didn't attend the funeral. He never spoke about him again. But fans noticed. A man who helped build the foundation of the Rocky mythos had vanished, and Sly kept moving. Whether it was guilt, resentment, or pure survival instinct, no one knows. But one thing is clear, Stallone knew how to shut a door and never reopen it. And if you thought Friends were spared from Stallone's grudge list, just wait until you hear about the award show he tried to destroy. Most actors dream of winning an Oscar, but Sylvester Stallone, he's got a long, bitter history with the other awards show, the one nobody wants to win, the Razzies. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Stallone became the Razzie Awards' favorite punching bag. He was nominated 16 times and won 10. Worst actor, worst screenplay, worst sequel. Year after year, the Razzies called him Hollywood's favorite disaster. And Stallone hated it. He never showed up, never laughed it off. He called the awards mean-spirited and lazy. In one interview, he said, "They don't get it. I'm out there doing the work, taking the risks, and they just sit behind keyboards and mock it." To Stallone, the Razzies weren't just criticism. They were insults to a man who had fought for every ounce of his success. Even in 2016, when Creed brought him critical praise and an Oscar nomination, the Razzies took a jab at his past. He never forgot. And that's the thing about Stallone. You can mock him, you can doubt him, but he'll never forget the ones who kicked him while he was down. Because to him, revenge isn't petty, it's long-term. And the best way to respond to hate, make your enemies watch you win. Sylvester Stallone doesn't explode in interviews. He doesn't tweet tantrums or cry for sympathy. He remembers, he outlasts, he wins. Every person on this list, they underestimated him, mocked him, or tried to hold him back. And every time, he hit harder, climbed higher, and proved the quiet grudge is the loudest revenge. Because Stallone didn't just play fighters, he was one. In the ring, on the set, and in real life. Thanks for watching Legends Unfiltered, where fame fades, but the truth fights back.